The San Diego Padres have rarely ever been a relevant franchise, and I don't say that to be rude, it's just the truth, unfortunately. They started out as a franchise in 1969 and only made the postseason 3 times in the 20th century. 1984, where they actually went to the World Series but lost to the Tigers, 1996, where they'd get swept by the Cardinals in the first round, and 1998, going all the way back to the World Series again, only to get swept by the juggernaut Yankees. In the 21st century, the Padres have made the postseason 3 times, with one of them being in a shortened season with no fans and expanded playoffs, which took place in 2020. As for 2005, the Padres somehow won their division by winning only 82 games, but losing to the Cardinals in the division series, only to have the exact same thing happen the next year in 2006. San Diego has never really had a Padres team that everyone remembers to this day. They've had some legendary players, most notably the late Tony Gwynn Jr., but that's really all they've had to brag about. And then Fernando Tatis Jr. arrived. 2020 was a lame year for all of us, no doubt, but what Tatis did for the Padres was undoubtedly a big deal. No fans were able to witness it in person, but Tatis, along with the rest of the 2020 Padres, were a fun team to watch. They were good, but they also had flair. The success that year, along with the organization having one of, if not the best farm systems in baseball, led to front office guy AJ Preller making some big moves to even further better the team. After trading for Cy Young Award winner Blake Snell, 5-time All-Star Yu Darvish, young nasty starter Joe Musgrove, signing Korean infielder Ha-Seong Kim, and extending young superstar Fernando Tatis Jr. to a 14-year deal, Padres fans couldn't have been any more excited for the 2021 season. It wasn't just Padres fans expecting them to have a great year, though. It was pretty much everyone in baseball. The Dodgers were expected to win the division, and the Padres would win that first NL wildcard spot. Looking back, we couldn't have been any farther off. The Padres went into the All-Star break 13 games over 500. Not bad. They were even 18 games over 500 on August 10th. Fernando Tatis Jr. was having an MVP season, the team was clicking overall, and the swag chain was in full effect. What can go wrong? They'd end up going 11-15 in August, and although 13 games back in the division, had possession of the second wildcard spot, while having a full month of baseball ahead. They probably now wish they didn't have that full month ahead. The Padres went on to come up with only 6 wins in September. 6, going 1-2 in October, ending the final month of the season 7-21 with the 79-83 record for the season, finishing 28 games back of first place, 11 games back of the second wildcard spot, and before the final game of the regular season was even played, the team announced that they were letting go of manager Jace Tingler. So from a team that everyone expected to win a bunch of games in a wildcard spot, if not the division, to an under 500 ball club having to fire their own manager, the Padres couldn't have underperformed any more than they did this year. So what now? According to MLB insider Jeff Passan, it doesn't necessarily look that pretty right now. During Baseball Tonight on ESPN, Passan said that he was told by a Padres player after the season ended that guys don't want to be there. Here is the clip.
At the end of the season, I was told by one Padres player that guys don't want to be here. That's an indictment. That's a problem.
So which guys don't want to be in San Diego? According to a prominent San Diego sports radio voice, Eric Hosmer is certainly one of them. Darren Smith, a longtime San Diego sports personality, recently spoke about how Hosmer hated everyone in the Padres clubhouse and spoke to nobody after the trade deadline. Here is the audio.
Some of the stuff about Hosmer, some of the stuff about how quickly Hosmer seemingly went south in there is going to start going public. And, I even just in a couple of separate conversations from people who I don't think operate in the same ecosystem in there internally, you can sort of hear like I cannot believe that Hosmer went so south on us. You can hear that we're not, like the kind of things you hear, we have no chance of winning until we get rid of that. That's the kind of stuff that you're already starting to hear. Now, again, am I in that clubhouse every day to know that this isn't just the kind of stuff that's being said because it's the end of the year, it's been frustrating. There also have been problems. I think we all would admit, that it's not completely out of the blue that, there's probably been some problems with this guy, given, what they try to do at the trade deadline, how he's received by teammates, etc. But man, it just, and when you hear some of the like this guy, he just hates everybody, he doesn't talk to anybody. You hear that sort of stuff, you're like, okay, so this is the way it's going to go.
We have all seen the Machado-Tatis incident that took place during a game in St. Louis, with the two yelling at each other before taking the field. That is probably the least of the Padres' worries, though, considering the two have a known brother relationship, and even talked in front of the media how that situation was nothing. Machado was just being the bigger brother. This offseason is going to be a very interesting one, though. You can't look at what this Padres team did in 2021 and go into 2022 with the exact same roster. Guys like Tatis, Machado, Cronenworth, Joe Musgrove, for example, should be there to stay. But there needs to be some shaking up with the roster after they find a new manager, that is. With all that being said, it's not going to be easy, especially when you consider the fact that you have two teams who finished with over 105 wins in your own division. The Dodgers were expected to do so, but the Giants came out of nowhere to win the division with 107 wins, so that's a new team you're going to have to worry about now. The 2021 season was a failure for the Padres, yes, no doubt, but they are certainly in a much better position than they were a couple of years ago. They went from 14th in the league in attendance to 3rd in the league. Tatis has brought in new fans, and Petco Park is a fun place to be for a baseball game. But at the same time, this team needs to win, and 2021 was unacceptable. Hassan's report that players want out, along with Smith's report that Hosmer started to disconnect from his teammates after the trade deadline rumors, are obviously not good news. AJ Preller and the Padres front office have a lot to get done this offseason, and it starts with finding a manager, to building a team that will compete with the Dodgers and Giants, and overall having a better clubhouse dynamic. Let me know what you think about Padres players reportedly wanting out of San Diego, and thank you for watching.